Episode 50 of the Athletes Lounge podcast is brought to you by Pillar to Post Home Inspectors, the Jeff.
My name is Hunter Wade at the Athletes Lounge podcast. I'm here with my guest.
Coach D, Tri-State Admirals.
So, Coach, you're at the Tri-State Admirals of the TBL. Where are you guys at this point in the season? I guess you guys are in camp, right?
Yes, well, we just finished up training camp. So we're at the point now where there's no U-turns, as our players would say, no U-turns. We're 2 weeks away from the season opener, March 1st, at our new home in Elizabeth, New Jersey, at Elizabeth High School. So very excited, man. This has been one of the more calculated years for us. So we've been really trying to piece this together really good.
What year is this for you at Tri-State?
This is my third year at the helm as the head coach and the TMO. One of the few, I believe it's like maybe for a while, I probably was the only one that was a TMO coach, but I think now there's like one or two of us. But I'm actually the TMO and the head coach here for 3 years. I bought the franchise 3 years ago. The franchise is 5 years old as a overall. They had two owners prior to me. And so it's an honor to still be here 3 years later and trying to turn the Admirals around 100%.
So what's you kind of mentioned this has been one of the more maybe organized years. What's your third year in? What have you been trying to do differently this year from a couple of years previous?
What people don't probably realize is easier to criticize and judge a franchise, but don't have no idea what it takes to run one and what it takes to keep this thing going. So one of the biggest things this year is probably the detail that I'm paying attention to and the experience I want the fans to have when they come to an Admiral game. And an example, the past 2 years, it's been all about the players and about me giving opportunity to the players. And sometimes the players might not have no support, might not have no following. So sometimes that can affect what you're trying to do growth-wise. So this was the first year I wanted to take those things out of the players' hands, of them not having to depend on their fan base and actually could depend on what the Admirals are building and the people that love the Admirals and love what the Admirals stand for. So I think we've been able to do that. And that's what gets me most excited is just seeing how the people are going to respond this year to just the love we want to show the community and entertain our guests with our style of basketball.
So, you went to the combine in Indianapolis. What was the first off, what was your combine experience like? Did it meet your expectations this year?
Yes, this was the best combine. I feel one of the largest groups and one of the most hungriest groups. So I really love this. It's my third combine. So every year I just see growth in the numbers, growth in the demand, which is a testament to how well the TBL is doing as an overall to grow and get these young people excited. And real shout out to all the owners that were there as well, because they're just doing such a wonderful job at creating opportunities for these young guys. And sometimes people don't see it, but for the most part they do. So I just love what we're doing as a league. And the combine was outstanding. I actually feel that for the first time, the day two was better than the day one. And usually the day ones, everybody's flying out. It's they're there for one day. But Sunday's crop was way more hungry and intense than day one. So I really enjoyed myself.
So with you, what were you looking for at the combine? Was there any type of skill set, and did you think you got what you wanted?
You know what's funny? When I go to the combine, I see so much misinformed players and so many players that have the wrong idea or just confusion, just don't know nothing. They just talent. So I spend a lot of time because I know I'm not going to draft a lot of players. Throughout the draft, I spent a lot of time interviewing and meeting players and trying to just get in their ear a little bit about certain things and, push buttons or just try to bring more out of them at the combine, leading up to the draft. So, no, I think that the biggest message for me when I go to these combines is just to give out a lot of hope that they're going to make it. But for us personally, we wanted to traditionally the Admirals draft for big guys. Obviously, there's a scarcity of big guys in the world. It's apparently, or every big man wants to be a different position. So it was hard to find the size that we wanted, but we were able to draft one forward and one great point guard, Isaiah Fields, who is currently still with us and was signed. So I'm very excited about our draft picks and what they could do. Yeah, we weren't able to get the size, but we got the talent and a lot of void space filled. So that was my main thing, just plug in what we didn't do well and see what we could find out there. And we did that. I think we did that. Only time will tell.
Yeah, and you're right, Cal is there, and the big man talent. Every good news is, I guess, a lot of the taller guys there have, a lot of the good sized guys there have wing skills, so you can kind of, I guess,
Yeah,
kind of get away of playing three wings and just calling it good.
yeah,
But is
it's
there
true. It's so true.
is there maybe not a dire need? Is it a thing where every coronated 6'10" dude's doing something else already? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Or they already,
yeah,
we had the number 6 pick, and all the big guys went
yeah,
out of here. So
yeah. The biggest one went number one. So like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. The 7'4" young man. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So what's you're the coach. So how do you prefer your team play? Is there a style you prefer your team play? And I don't know, like I guess maybe give us some of your backstory. How'd you get into basketball? Because I'm sure where you're from probably impacts it a lot too, because Hoopers are different from
Yes.
everywhere.
Absolutely, man. Well, I'm born in Brooklyn, New York, so I'm a Brooklyn basketball New York guy. So New York is big, and it's survival of the
Yeah,
fittest. And when I was coming up, so you had to be good in the pecking order. So I have a great history being a player in New York City, playing at New Utrecht, going to York College, and then being a nobody that had to try to make those things happen. So as I got into coaching, I saw a need for the nobody athletes. Had no one to fight for, had no platforms. We
yeah,
didn't have nobody, no coaches was looking at us. We didn't look like the eye candy. So I knew what I went through to get to the level that I got to. So I just wanted to try to be service and give guys a platform, use my platform. I was creating platforms for the past 20 years. I come from AAU down to the ABA and also women's professional. Got into FIBA, still currently coaching in FIBA, doing tours with Rise Above Sports Group, which I'm the Northeast the scout for, and then also with our USA Bloodhound. So I was able to kind of keep my coaching interest in everything that players needed a level to get to. So my women's basketball, we're the number 2 women's pro team. And ABA, we're the number one New York team. And then in TBL, we're the number 5th
yeah,
big team in New York City compared in the TBL, which is the 3rd largest league in America. So Revy, that was my goal, was to kind of control the pipeline for an AAU player to turn pro all the way up to the TBL
yeah,
with Coach D. With that being said, my coaching style is based on a system. So
yeah,
everything I do is system oriented, and everything. So once your players know the system, they're able to read and react a lot better.
yeah,
So that's my concept, is teaching our system, and then making sure the guys can read and react with each other really well. So we're on that string, and we kind of got those, eyes behind our head vision, and we just trust each other. We know where everybody's at. And it's not easy to teach that, because you get these players that come from all over different cultures and different in success.
yeah,
I find that the FIBA guys were able to dribble 5 or 6 times and be the man. And then when they come over here, you get, hey man, you got 2 dribbles. So they
yeah,
got to make that adjustment to the system, because my system is a 2 dribble system. So a lot of players wonder why they can't play here, why they don't get picked. It's like, man, you need 4 or 5 dribbles to get a bucket, and that's not the G League way. That's not the NBA way.
yeah.
You can't do what Steph Curry's doing with the basketball. You gotta do keep it 1 or 2 dribbles less. But I enjoy teaching the system and educating these guys on. We just talked about this last night at practice, that I teach a style of play that doesn't exist anymore. So it's going to be fun to watch when we do get clicking. Fans usually love, scouts and teams usually love seeing us play because of our physicality and our energy, and how hard we play together. It's a key. The Admiral brand is all about toughness, and like we say, the mud guys versus the Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's our concept.
So, being from, I guess, New York, anyone growing up that you, I guess, wanted to be, we all, every Hooper wants to be someone else, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
But,
yeah. Right.
is there anyone growing up? 'Cause there's, New York talent, and especially New York point guard talent has been kind of
Mhm.
crazy over the years.
Right, absolutely. It's funny because I grew up playing against these guys. So being from New York, you'll never admit who's better than you, or you'll never tell
Yeah.
nobody who's better. So I never compared myself to the New York players, because I always wanted to back when I was playing Sebastian Telfair and Gary
Okay.
Irvin, these were the big dogs. So they drew all the attention in the city. And guys like me, once again, the small guy who would have to guard these dudes, we would be not less talked about. So but yeah, I never really modeled after the New York players. I loved, of course, every person from
Yeah.
Mark Jackson down to Steph Marbury down to Rod Strickland. You got to know the New York greats. Carmelo, everybody. That's a hands given. But I used to. It's funny. I more modeled favorite coaches. Like
Yeah.
I'm more like I'm not going. It sounds so weird. As a player, it was always Kobe. It was nobody else I would mirror my game about, but not his moves. That's one thing about me with Kobe. It was never like his moves. It was just certain things he did and how he studied and how he defended. Those things I was like more drawn to. So I would have three great moves, like Kobe said, have three great moves that nobody could mess with and have a counter to them. So I always just had three great moves and a hell of a counter to anything that you tried to cut off. But that was my player, Jordan, Kobe. Love that right there. But I didn't try to be like them.
Yeah.
Coaching though, Rick Pitino, John Chaney, Rick Carlisle. Oh man, I love everybody. John Thompson, Coach Boeheim. I said Rick Pitino already. Yeah, these are like Rick Pitino, like my favorite. He's right in St. John's right now. But
Yeah, it is in
I
St.
used
John.
to love, Pat Riley. These are my coaches that I studied and just loved how they handled their players. And Phil Jackson. These are the guys I kind of like really, really went after. Calipari. These are my favorite coaches in America, hands
Yeah.
down.
Good people to
Can't
model.
mention Bobby Knight. I coach like a light-skinned Bobby Knight. So I only thing I will not do is throw a chair because the league will have me out of here. So I nope. But I'm that kind of fiery. Bobby Knight was my favorite coach.
Well, because I'm based in Indiana, a lot of my audience is Indiana.
Oh,
You're welcome, audience.
yes. Shout out to Indianapolis, Indiana. Yes, I love Bobby Knight. It's no every book. Yes, this is my guy.
Bobby Knight's Bobby Knight's pretty much a folk hero here at this point.
Yeah,
So
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, good point. I mean, all those guys you just mentioned are very, very, very legit coaches. Every single guy. Everyone has their own unique style because John Thompson definitely handles things different, and like
Yes,
Petito handles things, but all have very nice things. And
yes.
but like we mentioned Rick's over at St. John's now, and was he
Mm-hmm.
at Iona? I guess Iona's up there still too.
No, Louisville. He was at Louisville for a long time.
No, I was saying it was like Louisville and then Iona,
Yeah, yep.
then
Yep.
St. John's,
And
and then
and it's funny because like don't try to be like those guys, but I take certain things they do really, really well and
yeah,
try to
because
blend.
if you
So
mix
Coach
it all,
T
you
was
get
like a
you
mix
get a
of all.
super team.
Yeah, I'm a mix of all those. You'll get every one of those coaches sometimes.
So first off, you mentioned Sebastian Telfair, and I wasn't expecting to hear that name today. So I just have to mention he was fast.
He's my guy. I look forward to reconnecting with him because we played against each other a lot. So, I beat him for a CYO championship and everything. So I've been trying to rekindle with the guy that I used to guard. And so it's been Sebastian's my man.
Hey, so I'll ask a question. There's when there's a guy that's and no one, very few hoopers will ever admit anyone's better than them. It's just like the natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
In high school, when you're guarding guys like that, is it
Yeah.
how much of the game plan or whatever is kind of focused to like stopping that guy? Because like they make, I assume like some of those NBA guys, especially Telfair, because he came straight out of it, didn't he? He came straight
Mm-hmm.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget him, Jamal and Tinsley. Sometimes I get confused somehow. But like,
Yeah.
so Telfair came straight out. Is it pretty much stop this guy because no one else can do anything, and the only way anyone else is going to do anything is because he's going to set him up? Is that almost the way it is when guys are that good in high school?
I think so. And a lot of coaches, I think today's game is fear. Like
Yeah.
if you hear about a person with all this thing, but for other coaches and for guys like myself, it was opportunity.
Yeah.
So, and when we played, it wasn't geared so much towards giving anybody attention unless you ran a double.
Yeah.
Otherwise you just try to play your game and impose your game. So it's weird to see today guys playing and give these guys that attention. And also, it's about the person that's guarding. They also got to believe that they can stop. Because today's generation, I find to be very fearful. If Sebastian was playing today, these kids would be backing up. looking like they was on
Yeah,
roller
yeah.
skates.
They want to get crossed.
Right, they wouldn't want to get crossed. When we played, there was no cameras around, so you didn't care about that stuff, and nobody heard about it if you got, if you got your butt kicks. But the main thing was guys played harder. It was more life for us. It was more like survival. If Sebastian had a good game, you kind of knew that might have messed up your college chances in recruiting. So I think the game's just changed with the level of importance and the scarcityness of getting to that level. A terrible basketball player in the whole world can have a career right now if he signs up for the right league with the right jerseys and the right cameraman, and it's like it's
Yeah,
just a bad era. There's too many outlets for bad basketball. And I
yeah.
hope that's
There is.
something that's viral from this interview, but it's way too much celebration of mediocrity. And the guys, like every player in the TBL, you'll find get very lack of support because they're
Yeah.
chasing the dream, but the guy who gave up gets to get all the pats on the back. And,
This is gonna catch me flack, so I'm just gonna say it, but I hope no one sees this who works there. Like overtime type culture kind of hurts sometimes because like if
only
you
showing the highlights.
yeah, if you take the top 25 people overtime highlighted, and Zion doesn't count because Zion was gonna be good anyway. Zion's not an overtime product. But like other than Kenneth Lofton, and I'm sure there's a few others I'm forgetting about, not
Mm-hmm.
many made it,
Mm-hmm.
like close to make it. Like Lofton made it. And if you want to count Jelly Fan, but like someone like Nas Reed's gonna be good anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
so Jelly Fan was kind of latched on the Nas Reed
Yep.
because he's just gonna be good. So like,
Yep.
but so some of those brands or whatever they kind of do. It's like look, man, like Cooper Flag might be. I'm not gonna say Cooper Flag because he's actually gonna go. There's some people which you want where you watch where it's like, okay, you're just doing this because like, look, Lofton's good. But the reason overtime followed Lofton around so much is because he's 6'5" and like 280.
Right.
It's like a weird
Right.
like he had a 60-year-old man post game as like a 14-year-old is what he had. So it's like
Right.
and
Absolutely.
that's rare. But a lot of these guys like okay they hit a cool dunk or they'll hit a dunk where it's like the dude is completely out of the play and the guy was getting back into play and they got dunked on and then they'll act like this is the greatest dunk in high school history. But like like there's certain mixtapes that, there used to be a selection for who used to get mixtapes, and it used to be Wall or Rivers. Now everyone can get mixtape. Like everyone in the league is good. I can make a convincing Bismack Biyombo mixtape this year if you give me enough time.
Right.
And that's
Understand.
not to
Yep.
that's
No.
not to disparage him, but the big men who dunk and block shots aren't guys that get mixes usually. That's
But,
not.
but wait, let me just tell you this, man. Just so everybody listening, this is Coach D giving you guys some TMO and
Yeah,
some
hit us with the advice.
conversations I've had with big time agents and stuff. We have a hack code for all of these mixtapes. And it's so unfortunate. We have so many things that we take into consideration when we watch film that to the point now where I personally believe that 70% of the real legitimate coaches do not watch the highlights. I really feel like the highlights that guys send you in the DMs and everything, I feel like maybe to get some little bit of interest, but coaches very rare. I feel like the highlights game is it really is hurting players more than it's helping. But yeah, man, no way, Jose. I think that we have the hack. I'm letting every player know. I'm not going to give away no tools. We'll save
Yeah.
for another combo. But players out there realize that you have to show your low lights and your highlights. That's the one tip I will say.
Would you say it's almost better to send game film, and if you're going to include highlights, include good stuff what wasn't in the film, but like obviously you want the film to be good, but then include so it's like I do this during the course of the game, but if I'm given the opportunity, this is how athletic I am, or this is what I can do if I do this. So it's like this is what my absolute ceiling is, and then here's what I do on a play-to-play basis, I guess.
Yeah, I think absolutely. It's like a balance. I think you have to send a link with the full game and then send the highlights of what
Yeah.
you did because sometimes players might not be that featured.
Yeah.
If you're a guy on the bench and you might have hit 2 shots, that's it. The whole game might not be too
Yeah.
relevant for you. But you still need to collect your clips to help sell yourself. But also too, it's sad the players have to do so much on their own because the coaches aren't really shopping. They shop their best, but the rest kind of fall through the cracks. So I kind of understand why players have to do it too, because they have to try to put themselves out there as much as they can. It's there's a lot of players out here, so you have to try to stand.
Pillar to Post, ensuring confident homeownership. call a day to book your home inspection.
Now, so, but I think they should post a full game in the highlights.
Yeah,
Allow
well,
us to look at it all.
well, I'll use an NBA example because I think he's an extreme example. Like Derrick Jones Jr. Like all he has to do, is like show you 3 or 4 things and how high he can jump. But then if he shows the full game where he's not featured, he can't catch a lob every other play down the court. But if he
Right.
shows you that, I guess now he can shoot. So I guess now in Dallas he can shoot. If he can shoot, he can shoot a little bit, defend a little bit, maybe rebound pretty well for his frame, and then the jumping, the lob catching, and that type of stuff's just extra. And then I guess that stuff's nice added, but you just know you're not going to get that every play.
Right, absolutely. I agree. No, absolutely. In these levels, you shouldn't be looking for teams and stuff if you're not dominating what you're
Yeah.
at. These levels.
Which I like how I say that, but like Kyrie Irving, every time he does anything, he does do one of those plays. But
yeah.
but Kyrie and Curry are like the exceptions to where everything's mixtape worthy for what they do.
Like, I mean, it's not basketball. They can go do that every play down. They're that good. But that you're talking 1%. Not everybody's that good.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Yeah, so it's tough.
The amount of spacing in the league right now means it's impossible for anyone to stay one-on-one with Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
So it's
absolutely no way you're keeping that man in front of you.
No, it's impossible. It's impossible at this point. But so at this point, so your past camp, have you done cuts?
Yes, we have done cuts, and we are with our final 15 now. We keep 3 in reserves, so I carry 15 on the roster. 12 I can activate, but I keep 3 in there because things happen. Guys mess up with practice and stuff. I'm very strict with certain things, so I give out to guys. Sometimes I don't like cutting players that still have potential.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's rough.
Sometimes I'm not sure about a player. I need to kind of see them a little bit. One thing I do is give opportunity. That's one thing. I sign 90% of my team are usually rookies. So I usually really love for guys to come here and prove themselves and get the evidence that they need. And as you can see from our track record, a lot of Admirals are off doing wonderful things overseas and in the TBL.
Yeah, I guess, how does your cut process work? Obviously, you see the people you want to cut, but like, what are you gauging them on during the cut process usually?
Oh man, great question. Let's go into the value. Market value is one of them. What's their market value currently? Potential versus actual talent.
Yeah.
IQ is very big. Unselfishness and aggression. A lot of violence when you play. I prefer guys who play with a lot of aggression, a lot of passion. You can tell a lot from a player from how they rebound the ball. So I look for rebounding as well. I love guys that are dogs on the glass. So you look for those standouts, guys who can impact, make plays for others. Unfortunately, this is a culture where you need to go one-on-one and you don't play, and we see all that stuff, and guys get themselves cut just by being nuts, going into the hole with 2 guys there and 3 guys waiting for you, and you not making the right kick out. So it's little things that players eliminate themselves really fast. But for the most part, I look for those things. I need to have a mix of those 6 things in there, man.
So I think you kind of answered my question there. Do you prefer older guys who maybe played overseas, or do you prefer guys who are coming out at straight out of college?
I prefer guys who, that's a great question. I prefer guys out of college, fresh out of college, 1 year, 2 year. Reason why is because they're not poisoned, they're not tampered with, they still have a pure love and hunger for the game.
And you can get your vision across.
Yes, after 2 years, jobs, life, women, rent, all this stuff starts to outweigh the reality of basketball. So I like guys fresh out of school. Secondly, I like to be balanced with the team, but no, I do not like veterans or former guys for one reason. They might have so much success where they were, and when they come here, they're Mr. Nobodies, so they don't adjust really well, and their attitudes stink. I have one player who I just literally gave him a compliment last night. He's a new veteran guard that we signed here, Chris Miller. This kid is from overseas the past 4 or 5 years and has nothing but success. And he comes here and he's humble. He works hard. He's 100% practice attendance, always there on time. Like I could just fire on all these great things about this kid who's been already successful and shows no attitude. but then I can also give you a player who had the same amount of success and do not take practice serious, do not, feel like they need to work. They're comfortable where they're at, or they're just getting money already. And New York, that's a term. They got good jobs. Yeah. They're getting money, and basketball is not really it. But for guys like me and my team, basketball is life. This is all we do. This is all we got. So hard to mix mediocre with guys that's trying to be great, So that's my biggest concern this year, just keeping our team thinking one way and moving one way.
Well, I'll ask you this. What's the type of shot? Obviously, you want every possession to be a good shot. What type of shot do you prefer? I guess, do you prefer threes or layups is essentially what I'm asking. Do you prefer?
I'm an inside-outside coach. I prefer to feature my bigs, let the bigs establish. Once they can't, then I give it to the guards to try to be creative. But I'm a big man coach by heart. Naturally, I played the 4 and 5 out of place. So coach had me at a 5-4 and I should have been a 2. But it was because I had these long arms and I was everything I talk about. I was on defense. I had a light skin problem with. You thought I was a pretty boy. I turned into Dragon Ball Z. Like I got more powers from you just playing with me. so it was, I'm different, but yeah, I look for a little bit of that edge and chip on my guys, man.
No,
I just love Chris Miller and his attitude. We need more examples of guys like that.
I respect the light skin stigma or the stigma.
Yeah, you got to. Hey, man, yeah, the pretty boy stuff was real when I played. You get beat up if you cook too much in the park, you would got chased home. Like I'm from a different era. You had to know how to fight. You had to know how to ball. All that was important. So it was tough, man. Tough.
You kind of mentioned that maybe the big man talent kind of lacks in the TBL. Mainly that's because, like, look, the amount of coordinated people that are 6'10", 6'11", and up, very low. The amount of athletic ones are very low. Mm-hmm. And then the ones that are the league, the NBA alone carries 3 on each roster. Oh, they carry 5 on each roster. Let's be real. Like, and then it trickle down effect. You're not getting, you're not making against the guys you want. And so does that make inside out harder to do? Because you're not getting 7-1 where you can just post up and then run things around them.
Yeah, it sucks when you don't have the traditional big for my system. But I've been having guys that have been trying to be productive down there. But when we have a legitimate big, we're really good. And that's the part of trying to establish a big guy that can really do that scoring. But it is hard to play my style in this day culture. But a good coach adapts to what he got. So once I know my team, I modify the playbook. I switch things up. I put them in positions where they can succeed. If we don't have a big guy, then trust me, I'm going to make you take your big guy out, and we're going to spread out, get him away from the rim, and so we'll frustrate you to make you go small ball if we need to. But for the most part, we're okay with our center position. We're good. We're physical. I think we will be exciting this first month to watch.
What makes you, I guess, like, you're busy at the combine, by the way, right? Because like meetings and trying to do
hectic.
That's
all day nonstop. And plus, shout out to the 40 players that wanted to interview with me. Like, we was in demand. The Admirals were all over the place this draft. Yeah, this is great. Yep.
Where you're located helps a lot there.
Yeah,
a lot of guys from East Coast.
Yeah, absolutely.
East Coast easy to get up and down too. Makes it real easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what makes it? Like when you're there, how do you kind of see what you want to see when you are so busy? Because I know like some guys that aren't, doing both coaching and scouting. Oh, we're having tough time seeing what they wanted to do. So you're trying to do scouting and deal with business type stuff. So what's, how were you able to? Did you have staff with you? How were you able to like? I guess
I took no staff. I regret not taking one of my new assistants, Tommy. I regret it, but this is the 3rd year I went by myself. That's the disadvantage. Every year I go is that we don't have enough numbers to kind of play the politics and get into the ears and get into the sportsmanship and the unsportsmanlike deals and get into the chatty. So it's that part is what I miss out on. But for the most part, I love this. I'm hands on. Yeah. It's very easy for somebody who's living their dream. This doesn't feel like work for me. So Yeah, so I'm loving it, and I hate that I don't have enough attention. Sometimes I'll be like, "Hey, man, I'll be right with you," but for the most part, will get to every player. I'm not Hollywood. I'm not. I don't put my nose up at anybody. I don't act like I'm better than anyone. So, I want to talk to the guys as much as they want to talk to me. I'm honored that they even, respect me enough to understand, see my vision. So but no, it's very easy for me to scout and see everything. I compartmentalize, if I say it right. If I compartmentalize, whatever. But you know what I mean.
Oh my
I
God, I
like
can't say
it
it
really
now.
well. Yeah, I wear my hats differently,
There,
very well.
you separate everything well. There we go.
Yeah, there
We'll
we
do
go.
that.
I separate. I
We'll
wear
work
my
around it.
hats. Yes,
The
very well.
No, so I guess kind of winding down here. What right now,
Hmm.
like everyone thinks they're going to win the league. Like everyone.
Yeah,
Well, it's probably a mix. It's probably 50% of coaches think they're going to be the worst team in the league, and the other 50 think they're going to win the league. So
I'm a realist, so don't worry
yeah,
about me fantasizing. I'm a realist, so
yeah. So what right now is your expectation? Your I guess your first goal, is it just like get on a winning streak? Get on, is there like a kind of first goal to kind of hit?
Mhm. But we established that anything less than us hitting our goals is a bust this season.
Yeah,
So we've been talking about having an 8-0 March. This has been really important for us to come out swinging early, come out clicking early. The second thing is protecting home, making sure that we win our home games, because that will help us a lot when it comes down to playoffs. And realistically, the Northeast Division is the best division in the TBL. That I stand on. Um, but I want to say that the top 6 teams, the top 5 teams are monsters.
yeah,
Well-oiled machine, big budgets, big fan base. I'm talking about machines. And then there's the Admirals. The only people or the only ball club that I feel can mess up this whole set in
yeah.
stone fantasy legacy franchises. The only guys that could mess this all up is us. So that's the position I want to be in. I want to be the team that you look at on the schedule and say, "Hey, man, we got to take care of these guys, get them out of here early because we don't want to keep them around." I want to be a team that you don't look forward to playing because you know what kind of competition you're going to be playing against. So we're on pace to hit all of those goals. Everything else, playoffs and championships, I want to go on record to say that is not something that a coach can dream on. He could want that all his life. We all want that, but that's not a coach's decision. That's a
Yeah.
roster decision. That's a player's decision. My guys who are watching this and players all around the world, if you're on a team, take Coach D advice. That is a locker room business decision that your men on your team have to make in order to win a championship, in order to get playoffs. And I don't think we've had that conversation. I don't think our team is there yet where they really believe that they can shock the world. So hopefully things change over the next 2 weeks before opening day, where our confidence is booming. And but I do, for the most part, feel our goals are very simple, and it's about this first month. This first month sets the tone and everything.
So that's for all I have. Like, I guess, prepared question wise. Any dates you want to talk about? Anything you want to talk about here for a couple minutes?
Well, Brett, I wanted to shout out a few players who's been doing a great job in camp. If I can,
Yeah,
I
go
want to
for it. Go
shout
for it.
out. Yes, I want to shout out my rookies. My
Yeah,
rookies, Elijah Pittman, Mark Blair, um, Javon Johns, Darius Celestine. I have a few rookies I'm probably missing out. Kevin Zhang, Xavier, X Zhang. It's a lot of guys that are doing a great job. Shout out to my rookie class, best rookie class I feel in my
yeah,
career. I want to also shout out Christian Butler, our franchise player, back for his 3rd season. A wonderful young man that I think a lot more athletes need to find out his story and understand why he's been able to play 3 seasons with us and have such a long career, and with a team that wants him every year, that we want to bring him back every year. I think players can learn from that. So big shout out to Christian Butler. Love everything about him and how he prepares. And big shout out to our veteran group, man. Coop, Chris Miller, Austin, Justin, all these guys, man. I just love my team, love these guys. So big shout out to the players. Shout out to our sponsors. Sponsors, man. I gotta let you know, man. This is
yep.
unbelievable. It's our first year. So shout out to my sponsors: YOLO Rum, PXB, Neutralite, Trophy Mania, everybody, man. I hope I didn't miss anyone. But if I did, my bad. I got you. But yeah, shout out to everything. I'm just in our fans. Shout out to the fan base. We need you. We want you there. This season is a special year because we got like so much free incentives because we want you in the building. So please make sure you tap in with the Tri-State Admirals on Instagram at Tri-State Admirals. And stay tuned, man. We are going to be special. I promise you that. We will be a special team. And March 1st, home opener, first game of the year. Be there. I cannot wait. Yes. Admirals are here.
So I've been Hunter Way at the Athletes Lounge podcast, and thanks for doing this, Coach.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey guys, this is Hunter with the Athletes Launch podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe where you can. Thanks.